Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So we just had some really big news with the CPI numbers coming out as much higher than expected, which launched the dollar up really aggressively here today. And now we actually see it pulling back. So I wanted to jump on here and talk a little bit about what the news was and sort of explain where it is, and then also talk about some reactions or trade setups that I see with the dollar specifically in response to these fresh CPI numbers. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. If you're new to my channel, before we go, do me a favor, just smash that like button down below, subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content. It's completely free and it really helps when you leave a like down below just to show the YouTube algorithm that you are enjoying this stuff. So with that said, the dollar index, I'm looking here on the 15-minute chart. You can see we had this major spike to the upside, really drastic move there, and then some follow through, followed by, of course, this pullback that we are seeing now. First of all, let's talk about what's actually gone on. Why did this thing launch to the upside? If you're new or if you're a little bit confused by this, basically we had CPI news today here this morning at 8:30 a.m. US Eastern, which was forecasted or expected to come out around 0.5%. Okay. So that was the forecasted figure, meaning that the idea was inflation would be at 0.5% for the month. That was the expectation. Then the actual numbers came out and smashed it completely with a 0.9% figure actually coming out. And the reason that that is a big deal is that is much higher inflation than what was expected for the CPI figures today. So that was a big startle to the market, and we saw the dollar launch off of the reaction to that. You might say, well, Nick, high inflation, why would that cause the dollar to go up? Here's the basic idea. I'm going to break it down as easily as I can. So the reason that the dollar launched up higher is because you had this sort of, yes, it's higher inflation, but what that does is it sort of prompts the Fed, okay? So the Fed doesn't want interest or inflation to get too high. They want inflation to be at a controlled rate, ideally around 2%. So when inflation is high like this, the Fed, they've got their spectacles on, they've got their glasses going like this, and they're like, that's a little bit high. Maybe we should do something about that. And that is where the idea here is that the reaction could be monetary policy tightening from the Fed, things like tapering, less money printing, and potentially even hiking rates, all of which are bullish reactions that could cause the dollar to actually strengthen, right? So the Fed sees this high figure and they say, we should probably react. And then the dollar in response to this could become bullish, right? So that's the breakdown. It's a little bit confusing again for new traders. They're like, why the heck is the dollar going up on high inflation? That is really weird, but it's more because of the implications that it could cause the Fed to do. Could cause the Fed to react in a way to tighten monetary policy in a way that actually, reduces inflation or responds to inflation, which causes a strengthening US dollar. That's the idea. So now let's talk a little bit about the technical analysis here. For me, I have been bullish on the dollar, and so this is a potential buying opportunity on some of the different crosses that I watch. Again, after this major push to the upside, we are pulling back and we're testing some key levels here already. So I wanted to point this out right where we sit right now. We are retesting support to see if there are buyers here where we currently sit. Now I'm already in some dollar positions. All the trades that I take are shared in our Discord. I will share what I am currently long on just so that you can see what it kind of looks like. I am long on the dollar yen. I was long 2 days ago, I think, or was it yesterday? 7:11 today is 7:13, so 2 days ago. I took a long position on the dollar yen on a pullback, nice little entry there, and really run nicely so far because I have been bullish on the dollar. So this has been working really well for me so far, but I think that there may be some pullbacks here that could be opportunities for people who maybe missed the initial move. Now, please remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to go take trades. The dollar could come lower. I'm not always right, and so I just want to say that before I go any further, but these are my ideas and thoughts on the dollar. I think that it is potentially bullish. We did come into contact with some key resistance. Check it out right here. You can see a pretty nasty candle here. You got a ginormous spike to the upside off of that news at one point, coming up all the way to 92.7. So a really drastic move for the dollar and tagging into higher time frame resistance. So for me right now, where the dollar sits, this looks like a pullback intraday that could be an interesting area. Now, again, I could be completely wrong. We could see massive rejection here and continue lower. That is why whenever I take a trade, I put a stop loss on my trade because let's face it, none of us are perfect and I am not perfect either. So that's the idea. So as it pulls back here, I think that this is the dollar index. So let's actually go take a look at some of the individual currency pairs. You've got the Euro USD pulling back pretty aggressively here. Seems like it may have found a bottom here for the day against the dollar. We'll see if that is true. Again, this is highly volatile right now, so it could come swinging right on back down. We'll just have to watch how it plays out for the rest of the day. But the ones that I've pointed out with the euro specifically, I pointed them out on stream today, would be a break and retest, something like that. I like that opportunity for pushing lower down to 1.17. As I am bullish on the dollar, I think that the euro has more potential there. I also pointed out on stream today that a bigger pullback down to this big key spot here on the higher time frames, the low there that was formed in March of this year, could be due to be retested. So we'll see. Again, a little bit of a pullback there, a little bit of volatility there today on the euro dollar. We can also take a look at, here's the one that I'm in, dollar yen. There may be some second chance opportunities here somewhere along the way. Maybe even retesting, if you're more intraday, retesting this level of broken resistance here off of that news. So we'll see if that one wants to play out. But again, on the lower time frames, even you could drop to like the 30-minute chart and see, you've got this level of resistance that broke out now being retested. We'll see if that can hold. But even if it comes down, honestly, for me, it's still worth holding after that really good news for the dollar. So, or at least strong news for the dollar. So that's my thoughts there on the dollar yen. We'll take a look at the pound dollar here. Pound dollar is really, really sold off here after the news from here. We can see that the pound was already sort of taking a beating, and then it got really slammed with this fresh news. So we will see if the pound dollar wants to hold these losses, or if it's going to bounce back. Again, we're seeing a reaction right now already off of this trend line here. So if you're a pound dollar bull, keep an eye on this. There may be some opportunities just to see if this forms a bottom and maybe we start to push higher overall. But on the flip side, if you're a pound dollar bull, if you're like me and you're looking mostly for dollar longs, something like this, breakout retests, and watching for this exact level to fail. If that comes into play, there may be some decent setups. Again, whatever trades that I end up taking, I will be sharing inside of the Discord, and I will have a stop loss on my trade in case I am wrong, because like I said, I can still be wrong. But I think that this reaction overall was very, very bullish for the dollar. So for me right now, I think that pullbacks could be, like I said, it could be opportunities to look to get long and for pullbacks. And like I said, those are just my opinions. Let's talk about gold. This is a big one here. Gold did some crazy stuff this morning. A really, really insane move for the gold market, because we saw gold react super negatively initially and then bounce all the way back here off of the news here. So we saw a major drop and then a major spike here to the upside on the gold market. But again, this one's a really weird one because you've got something that is really dollar positive that came out, high inflation, but also high inflation is sort of a positive thing for gold, right? So it's kind of a confusing concept because you're talking about dollar potential strength, but also you're talking about inflation, which could cause gold to rise. It's mostly going to be, in my opinion, how the Fed reacts to this. Is the Fed going to essentially, look to combat this very quickly or not? And the really big thing that we're waiting on for this, for me right now, is this news tomorrow. You've got tomorrow at Wednesday at 12 p.m. You've got Powell speaking. He is the chairman of the Fed and has a lot of power in terms of monetary policy and stuff that could go on there. So that could very well move the dollar tomorrow as well. So we've still got stuff going on for the rest of the week here. So we will see everything that goes on. But for the most part, if you're looking at gold, if you think that if you're bearish on the dollar, or you think that inflation is not going to be responded to strongly enough by the Fed, then maybe there's something to be said for breakouts and pullbacks, etc. For me, I am staying away from gold. I prefer more of the dollar crosses. Dollar Swiss had a massive jump up and now pulling back almost to where it started. So I think that watching the dollar here could be really, really interesting to see if it gives you those pullback opportunities. Maybe, again, all this volatility, sending the price back and forth, maybe there's some trades in there on the pullback, in my opinion. That is what I will be looking to do with my trades. So thank you very much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure to subscribe to my channel down below and leave a like as well. Thanks so much, and we'll see you back in the next video.